son.
They say he overslept. Alarm clock issue is what they're saying.
Sounds like Nick Wright.
Oh, how dare.
Time for us to go viral. Phil Mickelson went 0-2 at the Ryder Cup this weekend, and Europe went on to dominate the U.S. to regain the cup. And not all was lost for America, with Bubba Watson posting this video. Ooh, of Phil Mickelson high-kicking a water bottle off Zach Johnson's head.
Nah, man.
That is indecent.
That's a level of trust I don't think I have with any human being. They're just going to let you roundhouse kick right in front of my face? What if Phil pulls a hammy? Or is what?
Well, first you have to have a hammy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think, your hammy has to be developed.
If Phil doesn't have to worry about that.
Well, it was developed. I think he let it go.
A little
It's been a long time since he's been running.
How many beverages do you think for both these guys were consumed before this was attempted?
Yeah, the Ryder Cup looked like they had a good time. I'm more about the pants. I'm more concerned about the pants than the kick.
Yeah,
those look like those Zubaz pants they brought back.
Yeah, Zubaz pants.
With the lines and everything. Yeah.
I had a pair of Zubaz Chiefs pants growing up.
Yeah, you tried to wear a pair last week.
No, again,
Danielle dressing.
First I'm late to work, now I'm wearing Zubaz pants as a grown man.
All true. Nick runs late, and Nick is not a good dresser. Thank God to Danielle.
Oh, my gosh.
Time for stories to start your morning. Titans outlast the Eagles in overtime 26-23. Both quarterbacks threw 2 touchdowns and over 300 yards. Nick, how surprised were you that the Titans upset the Eagles?
More surprising than my partner's lying on me again. Listen, the Titans are a good team. This is a team that has had really bad quarterback play for a month due to injury and just ineffectiveness. And they came out of this month 3-1. It's not like they had their one loss was the game you did, the monsoon game, 7 hours long. But to me, this is more about Philly. Philly's been bad on the back end of their defense every game this season. And they're up 17-3 on
Totally in
Tennessee,
control of this game.
And they give it away, man.
Mike Vrabel's doing a good job there with the Tennessee Titans. The only playoff team from last year that decides we're going to change our coach. So in his initial, as a head coach, has never been a head coach at any level. Vrabel's doing a great job to have the grit, determination to keep this team in the game, and they've had a lot of injuries. Had the wide receiver, Rashad Matthews, quit last week. Their second best guy. Lost their best receiver in Delaney Walker in the Miami game. So, man, what he's doing there is pretty special.
All right, on to the Packers and the Bills. Packers and those throwbacks. They shut out Buffalo 22-0 behind nearly 300 yards passing from Aaron Rodgers. Rookie Josh Allen struggled in his third start, throwing for 151 yards and 2 picks. See, how do you think Aaron Rodgers looked?
He looked a lot better. You can see he's starting to practice now. He participated in Thursday's workout, so it's getting a little more mobility in that lead leg, his left leg that he injured. But as long as he doesn't have a setback, this is what you're going to need, especially when the weather starts to change. If that leg gets stiff, I like the progress that he's made, and he hadn't had anything that would allow him to set back. I like to see him practice Wednesdays. And then we'll start to see more mobility in that leg.
And I liked what he said after the game, that he wasn't satisfied, that he thought the offense had to do much better. Now, obviously, he's very pleased with the defense shutting out Buffalo. But I also watched this game, and I couldn't help but think about the Packers' rivals in the Vikings and what an awful missed opportunity it was a week ago. Because Buffalo is as bad as we thought they were. That Viking game we're going to look back on as the oddest result of the season.
All right, moving on. Seahawks got a win over the Cardinals, but a key loss as well. Earl Thomas fractured his leg in the 4th quarter. As he was carted off the field, he flipped off the Seattle sideline. His season is over, most likely his career in Seattle as well. CC, what was your reaction to this?
Well, Earl's got a lot of respect around the league. He's been a class act. Even when he went to the University of Texas as an All-American there, came to Seattle. Since he's been to Seattle, we've had issues with other guys, blow-ups in the locker room, with the press. We haven't had anything with Earl Thomas. His brand is a positive brand, and you can see a lot of guys getting carted off in the NFL, but you don't see the opposition come up to the cart.
Right.
You don't see his teammates all the time come up to the cart like Earl. That's respect around the league. So this is not a good look. Earl, your days in Seattle are over with, but your brand continues, all right? So protect your brand, man, all right? I know you're upset and disappointed, but protect yourself.
Listen, I get the frustration. This is obviously what Earl was worried about. It's one of the reasons he wanted an extension, and it's got to be incredibly frustrating to re-break the same leg that you already have a steel rod in. I do hate that one of the greatest players in the history of the Seahawks franchise, this is the final image of him, because he won't play another game for Seattle. We all know that. And now, at least in the short term, the lasting image is him not only being carted off, but being carted off while flipping off the sideline, even if it's understandable frustration.
All right, let's end with Sunday Night Football. Steelers and Ravens. Joe Flacco led the way for Baltimore, throwing for 363 yards and 2 touchdowns. Big Ben struggled throwing a pick and a touchdown. Turns out the Steelers do, in fact, miss Le'Veon Bell. Ravens win it 26-14. Roethlisberger did not sugarcoat his performance after the game.
I don't think I'm on the same page as anybody right now because I'm not playing well enough. I need to play better. Today was just a bad day at the office. We've all had them. I had one today, and I promise I'll be back to play better. Because I didn't play well enough today to win the football game, and then I let the guys down.
All right, guys, what went so wrong for Big Ben and the Steelers yesterday?
Well, Big Ben didn't play well, but Ben, get over yourself, all right? For one, the defense was bad, and that's not Ben's fault. So he just said, oh, I let all the guys down. I told you guys when we started this, Ben is about the drama, all right? Now,
he likes hearing himself talk.
Sometimes he likes to put more, but this defense has not been good. Their pass defense has not been good. So do they miss L. Bell? Every team misses good players. Like, there's no replacement for a good player. Even Nick Foles filling in last year, he is not Carson Wentz. Now, the Eagles didn't win yesterday, but if they know, oh, we thinking about going back to Nick Foles? No, absolutely not, because the starter is a lot better. It's the same way in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's got some real problems as far as that offensive line. And when you don't have a running attack or a threat to run, you can commit more people to pass coverage.
Yes.
And you could see Baltimore. They weren't concerned about a run. They was going to give them the run. That's the way in Connor's best game, game number 1 against the Browns gave him the run. That's why he had that big day. But since then, teams are, you can run him. Give him the carries. But Pittsburgh won't run him enough to be able to create the man-to-man to make him go 7 in the box. Then so we can throw the ball outside. So that combination right there, it's going to be a struggle for them. But with them having Super Bowl expectations, they just have not come out of the camp the way you would hope that a team with those types of end of the season ambition that they would have right there. They haven't not played like the veteran team that we expect.
I thought this was a get-right game for Pittsburgh. I thought we'd look at it. They're on national TV at home. Big Ben never loses these games. 21-3 in his career. Primetime games at Heinz Field.
Baltimore does know him well.
Baltimore, right. They play them close typically.
Yes.
But the ones in Pittsburgh wins these games. And I thought we'd say, okay, look, it was another drama-filled first month of the season for the Steelers. They'd like to be 3-1 and said they're 2-1. No. This game, they lost it twice. And that's what's so, I think, frustrating if you're a Steelers fan. They lost it by immediately letting the Ravens jump out on top of them. But then they got a reprieve. An enormous goal line fumble by Baltimore when they are trying to go up 3 scores. And the Steelers get it 14-14 going into the half. And in the second half, you have 47 yards. You don't cross midfield once. You don't cross midfield. You don't convert a single third down. And to C's point, Le'Veon Bell's absence is not just felt in the fact that they ran the ball 11 times for 19 yards. It's felt in the fact that Antonio Brown is being limited, that the passing game is being limited, because when Le'Veon Bell is out there, it's what makes any team that has a super elite running back to go along with a super elite wide receiver and quarterback. You have to pick your poison. It's what teams right now are dealing with the Los Angeles Rams. Who are we going to worry about? The other guys going to beat us. Nobody's worried about James Conner. I understand he's a great story. I know he's a cancer survivor. I know he's from the area. I get it. But since game 1, he has 32 carries for 97 yards. And other teams are just saying, okay, James Conner, go beat us.
Okay, so now you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. What do? You know you're probably not going to get Lev Bell back, at least until maybe week 10. You got to figure some way out to get your guys open. What's the game plan moving forward? How do you fix this?
Oh, they got to play better defense, first of all. I mean, if you're getting all those big plays against your defense, we're going to always talk about Pittsburgh and their offense and everything, but It's hard when you don't have an elite guy. It's hard. You can't change your offense because they are a spread, 3-receiver team. Also, do they miss Martavius Bryant on the outside? Because the other guys, they're not as consistent. James Washington, the Blitnikoff winner, is he consistent enough to be that third wide receiver? So not only can they not run the ball effectively, they're not dominating when they're in 3-receiver sets. So that becomes a problem. This is all they got, though. You can't go out and get a whole new team. So they got to adapt to the personnel that they have.
And the defense is going to be a problem all year long. It's been a problem since Shazier got hurt. They had an offseason to fix that. They didn't. And if you didn't watch last night's game, it was worse than 26 points allowed. Baltimore got in the red zone 5 times and scored 1 touchdown. Every single drive Baltimore had in the second half, they got past the Steelers' 50-yard line. Like, they were moving the ball. The Steelers couldn't stop their run, and they made Joe Flacco look great. The Steelers' defense is a season-long problem. The offense will be better than it was yesterday, but that's an enormous home loss against your rivals.
All right, let's move on to the Raiders and Browns now. Tight one here. Baker Mayfield throwing for 2 touchdowns, also turned the ball over, though, 4 times. But the Browns had a chance to win this one, failing to pick up a critical 3rd down that would have ended the game. Cleveland forced to punt. Raiders took advantage. Derek Carr finds Jared Cook for the touchdown and the 2-point conversion. That tied the game at 42. Raiders would kick a field goal in overtime for their first win of the season. Take a listen to John Gruden after the game.
Feels like my first win in 100 years.